I'm sitting here in one of the winning cars of the night. Now, drivers say in order to compete in trash car racing, you have to make sure there's no windows, glass, or plastic, and you have to wear a helmet. Now, she says her recent decision to speak out is not only to seek legal action against the doctor, but also to help others who find themselves in similar situations as her own. USU student Katri Flint and her lawyers filed a lawsuit against Utah State University after Flint says she was raped by a USU football player and says the school did nothing. Right now, the fire rescue teams are investigating the damage in the garage, trying to figure out what started this fire and what left this house in ruins. Health experts say that the COVID-19 virus is sort of like a domino effect. If just one person has the vaccine, they say they have a greater chance to withstand the virus. Jay says they're not planning on coming and studying at this library next year, even though their mother is a professor here at USU. Jay says they're hoping to either go to University of Washington or University of Vermont. These are the Mon kids with their birth moms. So that tradition of the birth mom getting rid of all contact, they abandoned that too. I'm here at an overlook in Cache Valley, which is very clearly not Sardine Canyon, but we're gonna use this just as a visual to get an idea of how many houses they're planning on putting in Sherwood Hills. Therapists say that every element in music can influence a patient. Things like a change in volume, from loud to quiet, or a change in pace from fast to slow. Logan Pride Festival is busy with people painting their hands, visiting the 44 different booths, and almost 100 new people showing up each hour. Utah Women and Leadership Project says that 1 in 2 Utah women will experience sexual abuse. So for these 8 women, you can go, you're good, and you're good. These 4 women would be a victim. This is Storm, one of the dogs from the parade today. Both residents and workers say that dogs like Storm put a positive spin on the day. As far as the finish line goes for the bill, Utah senators have until March 5th to make an official decision. But for now, it's not looking like it's going to cross it. Reporting from the Ralph Mon Stadium, Sarah Murphy, ATV News.
It's like a punch to the gut. It's very lonely.
USU student Katri Flint says a USU football player raped her. She says she went to USU's Title IX office and Office of Equity for help.
I was advised at one point by someone in the Title IX office to leave the school because I might have an accidental run-in with this person who raped me. And that was like my safety procedure, was to avoid the TSC, avoid the library, avoid Old Main, avoid like all these big buildings where like, if I'm gonna be a successful student, like I'm gonna be in those buildings.
Flint says she was assaulted on November 26, 2019. She says for 7 months, she went through an investigation with USU. She says in July 2020, the decision panel told her the student athlete did violate school policy. She says they told her the next step was to hear back from the university president. She said after 5 months, she heard nothing. So she reached out to the president. Flint says Cockett responded, the case would not move forward. How did that feel, I guess? You go through your time and you're told these are all your resources, XYZ, do this and you'll get help. How did that feel doing what they told you and not seeing the results?
I just felt so dehumanized. I felt like nothing that I had gone through was important to anyone. I felt like they had, at that point, like even then, I felt like they had taken just as much from me as the rapist did. So I just was boiling, you know, I was so mad.
School officials say they can't discuss specifics of the case.
Under our processes, under our procedures, privacy of these investigations is a requirement.
I know for folks who, will look at the process and be like the university is just trying to make excuses for itself or, like cover its own butt. I think it's important to acknowledge that, yes, there are some elements of the formal investigation process that Utah State has absolutely no control over, that we are required to abide by in order to be compliant with the federal Title IX law.
Cockett says no matter the outcome, she wants to do what's best for students.
That's why I'm a president of university, is because I care about people. And I just think something got lost, something got missed that process and that communication conveyed to that individual that we didn't care. It's not true.
But Flint says she doesn't see it.
I remember being in the Title IX office more than I was in class, more than I was hanging out with my friends. So it was like I really did overextend myself, and I have nothing to show for this.
Sarah Murphy, ATV News.
It's very squeaky, so.
It's kind of squeaky.
Exercising, playing games, or doing laundry.
Do you think this is full enough?
Things you might find 17-year-old Sarah Fry doing on a normal day. Like any typical teenager, her mom even has to get her out of bed. But Sarah's routine is a little different.
Well, that's getting so much easier.
Relearning how to sit up and do daily things and roll over to my side and stuff like that. That's been a big change for me.
On July 30th, Sarah and her friends piled into their car to return home after a trip to Bear Lake. With Sarah sitting in the back seat, right behind the passenger seat, they made their way through Logan Canyon, where they were hit head-on by a drunk driver.
Probably every parent's worst nightmare is you get this phone call. We expected her to be home in an hour. And we got a phone call saying she'd been in an accident. And it was a serious accident.
As a family here, we sat around this room and just talked about the prospect of losing Sarah, and had to come to terms with that.
Learning about the loss of your legs is news that could shock anyone.
1, 2. Okay.
But the real shock was Sarah's reaction.
I just knew that I would be okay.
It was just amazing. The next thing she said was, "I'm so lucky to have you." There weren't tears. It was incredible, her reaction.
Out to the sides and overhead is the hardest.
Sarah's weeks are filled with tasks like physical therapy or practicing going down ramps. But for every task she's given, she finds a way to roll with it.
The better I get at it, the more fun it becomes.
All throughout the Fry home, hidden behind the hundreds of bears sent from well-wishers for Sarah Barra,
We love you, Sarah. Sarah Strong.
you can find a recurring symbol. A symbol that was Sarah's first communication with her family after surgery. A symbol and an attitude that continues to guide her.
I just feel so much love for all these people, and that's probably another reason why I'm so happy, just because I constantly have people that make me feel loved, and I've learned that I'm not alone and I never will be for the rest of my life.
The ripping of chainsaws, cleaning up of branches, and sounds of engines from heavy machines filled campus yesterday as a snowstorm swept through Cache Valley.
We got a freak storm. It wasn't expected to be this much.
I think we've had maybe a week of fall. Yeah. Now we have freaking Christmas now.
But with facilities workers sawing tree limbs and picking up the damage,
We had decisions being made about whether or not to cancel classes or delay them, and then we also had cleanup crews.
We're just trying to get all the tree limbs up and everything. It's unsafe for everybody.
the rest of campus was pretty empty. For the first time in 4 years, administration canceled morning classes because of weather.
The power is out in most of Logan, and they canceled class until noon so far.
This is the South Campus Express on Aggie Shuttle. Now this bus, along with the other shuttles, have been running all day. So why haven't classes?
The main reason we canceled the classes was because of the danger to students and employees as they would be walking around campus.
We're just trying to make it so it's safe for everybody.
A decision some students weren't against.
Oh, I was so excited. I rolled over and went back to bed.
With the final branches being tossed and facilities workers wrapping up. Staff members say things are looking good for the coming change of weather.
As long as everybody can just be safe, be careful in their cars, be careful while they're walking around, I think we should be fine.
Sarah Murphy, ATV News.
Go, 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 go.
When the green flag waves go, it's flying mud, burning tires, and smoking engines. But it's not a derby, and it's not professional drivers. It's trash car racing.
We're just gonna have some cars and crash them up.
I describe it as NASCAR and a demolition derby had a baby, but you go a lot slower.
There you go.
Drivers say the goal isn't always to win.
Checkered flag.
But it's to not break down.
If you finish, doesn't matter if you place.
As long as you can drive your car on the trailer, you win.
I'm sitting here in one of the winning cars of the night. Now, drivers say in order to compete in trash car racing, you have to make sure there's no windows, glass, or plastic, and you have to wear a helmet.
We took the glass and everything out, and that's it.
But drivers say despite the many crashes, safety is not a big concern.
If you look at the time and effort all of us are putting in our cars, it's about 10 times more dangerous for us to drive home tonight than any of us here.
We have helmet requirements, seatbelt requirements. This is actually a really safe sport.
Drivers say it not only brings people together, but anyone can do it.
You don't have to be a good driver. You don't have to be a redneck. City folk, more than welcome.
If you want to have fun, that is the one thing you have to have if you're going to trash car.
Sarah Murphy, ATV News.